Greetings, YouTube. I'm a crafter. I make stuff out of other stuff. I scavenge. I salvage. I take broken things, I take disused things, and I turn them into new objects. And in the process, I fail. I screw up. Things don't line up quite right. I measured something wrong. I've got pieces of broken stuff in my shop that I've kept out in the open where I can see them as a reminder. The classic, measure twice, cut once. The reminder to try to come up with every contingency. But it's not possible. And if I spent all of my time trying to plan for every conceivable contingency, I would never make anything again. If you are afraid to make mistakes, then the creative process ends. There's an old saying that I've always loved that you learn to avoid makes mistakes through experience, and you gain experience through making mistakes. That's just the way it is. And sometimes when you think you've got something down pat, you're wrong. And you come at it again, you find a different solution. Sometimes you got to walk away, take a break, come back, and go at it again. But if you don't make mistakes, if you don't break things, if you don't screw up, you're never ever going to make anything. Perfection is the enemy of the good. And I view politics the same way. I don't expect a party to be perfect. I expect them to be good enough to get me a little bit closer to what I want. Do I expect them to do it all at once? No, I do not. It's not possible. Do I try to plan for contingencies? Yes. But I have to work with what I got. And just like when I craft things out of broken stuff, tools, sporting goods, scraps of metal I find, pieces of wood, just scavenge from people's houses and for my company and whatever I can get my hands on. That's all stuff I've got to work with, and I use it, and I make things, and it makes me happy. Well, I'm stuck with what I've got right now for politicians. It's not a particularly good selection of materials to work with. And the thing I'm going to end up with is not going to be pretty. It's going to be kind of ugly. And it's not going to work 100% the way it should. Heck, I'd be thrilled if it worked 50% of the way it should. But it's better than doing nothing. And I'm talking about this as a personal decision. A decision made as a straight, white, cisgender dude in America. My lived experience is not like the lived experiences of millions of Americans. Half our population lives a world that I do not understand. Partly because I'm autistic, but just because I'm a guy. And I live with masculine privilege. I don't have to worry about so many things. They never make it onto my radar. I was stunned when my female friends finally told me what I'd been ignoring for so long. When I finally listened to them and then realized they've been telling me this crap for years, decades. They've been telling all of us about this for centuries. But too many men ignored it. Too many white people ignored what black people and indigenous people have said. Too many straight people, cis people have ignored what gay and trans people have said. And the best I can do is take with the things I have, as broken and as damaged and as crappy as they are, and build the best thing out of them. And unfortunately, at this point in time in America, that means I have to vote for the Democrats, a group that by and large I despise. There are a handful of them that I have respect for, literally a handful of them that I have respect for. And the rest I see as being better than the GOP, but still enemies of the American people, enemies of our future, willing to compromise, willing to live with the status quo. We can only do things with what we have. We shouldn't expect to get the perfect situation right out of the gate. The first time you make something, you will fail. And if you think you're supposed to be perfect that first time out of the gate, and then you never engage again with it because you didn't do it that first time, I'm sorry to say, but that's foolish. So go back in there and keep making stuff. Does it make you happy? Good enough. So I'm going to do what I can come November. That's going to be good enough. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to take us where I want to go, but it's closer to that. It is a little bit further down that path than if I do nothing, because that's just going to, at best, keep us standing still and at worst, drag us backwards. So do the best you can with what you have. And remember that perfectionism is the enemy of the good. You will make mistakes. You can keep going. And what you make, if you can make it good enough, that'll do.